Good afternoon and welcome to Real Talk with Brian Poduska. I'm Lyndon Wilson. I am the creator of The Difference. And The Difference is a radio live stream program that brings together small business owners, entrepreneurs, and helps them with a show, creating a show to show how they are making the difference in lives, careers, businesses, and in the community. And today's show with Real Talk with Brian Poduska, I'm going to bring him in now. Brian has real property management focus. Good afternoon, Brian. How are you doing?
Great, Lyndon. Good afternoon to you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm real good. So tell everybody a little bit about real property management before we get started. We're going to bring your guest in a little bit, Brian Dobbs. If anybody's ever watched The Difference, they know who Brian is. He's a big part of The Difference. But I want to start and let everybody know a little bit about real property management focus, how that got started, what you're doing with it, and then we'll bring Brian in and get started on our topic.
Yeah, for sure. We're trying to confuse you today with having multiple Brians on the show, so that should be fun. But no, to your question, real property management focus. Our goal is to focus on your real estate investments, and our key clients are focused investors, dedicated real estate investors who own property, whether it's commercial or residential, single family, multifamily. We help them manage that and take that off of their plate. So whether it's big or small, we can, pardon the pun, we can do it all. The way that we started, really, I've always been very interested in getting into real estate. I was in corporate America for 20 years. And I was born and raised in Chicago, spent most of my life up there, but moved down to the Dallas-Fort Worth area back in 2012. And the shocking thing to me when I moved down to Dallas-Fort Worth was just the tremendous amount of growth going on in the area. That, along with the fact that, I had already managed properties, not professionally, but managed our own properties in our family up north. All those things kind of came together, and I said, I've got to get into the real estate game. So went back and got my real estate license, and then, about 6 months later, started Real Property Management Focus. So that's how we came to be. We're a property management company. We pride ourselves on communication with both sides of our clientele, right? So both our owners and our tenants. And just making sure everybody's informed. And that's the biggest complaint that you'll hear in the industry, is that you're just not being informed, whether you're a tenant, whether you're an owner. So communication is kind of our pillar, and that's what differentiates us from most of the competition out there. And that's really, in a nutshell, real property management focus.
All right. And I know you do a good job. I've known Brian now for, going on a year, right? You've been with us. You've been with The Difference since day one when we started as a radio show. You were part of us, and so we appreciate your support and being with us. As I said before, we've got another Brian. So this may be confusing for you guys. It won't be for anyone else. But we got Brian Dobbs and a good friend of mine, good friend of yours. I know, Brian Poduska. Good afternoon, Brian Dobbs. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you guys?
Awesome.
I can't complain, man. Can't complain. It's good to be here. So thanks for being on today. I know that we've all done several shows together, but what's going on now with both of you? You guys are partnering up, which you know how I love that. I love that strategic partnerships and working and building our businesses. And I'm really excited to see, just several of you that I've known over the last couple of years that are putting some fantastic things together. And Brian Dobbs, I know you do the redefining real estate, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, and why. And I'm going to ask a question I already know the answer to, but why we need to redefine real estate. But you're doing it from a different perspective, and part of that is helping people become aware. Correct me if I say this wrong. Helping people become aware of the opportunities in home ownership, how to be more efficient in the buying process and in the ownership process, which helps build more equity faster. But then also all the different things that we can do through building equity and buying homes. Did I get that right, or am I
Yeah,
completely off base?
no, absolutely, Lyndon. And Aaron, I can't take credit for this, but Aaron used the terminology that I like and I borrowed, so I will just make it my own. But it's really accessing the power of real estate as a homeowner, as a buyer, a seller, an investor. Accessing that power of real estate is transformational, and that's what we go and teach. And that's one of the key points and the key reasons for redefining real estate. It's one of the key reasons that I wanted to get together with Brian Poduska and his group, Real Property Management, because they're making a difference as well. And it's great to have the synergy and the collaboration of people whose heart is in the redefining aspect of taking a program or an industry and saying, hey, listen, we're just going to go out and teach. We're going to go out and lay it all out on the table and say, here are your options. Look at the power of real estate. How can it help you today?
And Brian, you are Dobbs. You are. I may just have to call you by your last name so everybody knows. But
That works.
So, Brian Dobbs, you're really putting together, and I know, I've been around real estate for almost 20 years, and everybody does a great job. You're just seeing a different way of doing it, and you're putting together a team of people that really bring the awareness, but they're there to be the mentor through the whole process, right? So if I buy a home from Brian Dobbs, once I buy that home and you tell me all the great things that this home is going to do for me, you paint that picture. It's my dream home. I buy a home, and then Brian Dobbs goes away until 3 years from now, and you call me back up and you say, hey, are you ready to sell yet? That's not what you're doing in redefining real estate, right? And putting this team together. You're actually giving me a plan where I'm going to have access to people like Brian Poduska and learn. If I don't know anything about investing and property management, Brian's going to help me with that. And you're just putting resources together so that I can become, as you have the educated buyer, educated seller, I can become an educated buyer, educated seller, and allow that home, that one of the biggest investments in my life, to allow it to do more than just we would normally do by living in a house. Correct?
Correct. So you basically, you can break that down into 3 different components that we're building a team. Your that's basically your planning, your strategy. What strategies do you feel that's going to benefit you and your family the best? And then the during the process, either buying or selling, and then that post process after everything goes to closing. That's really where the team steps in as well, Lyndon and Brian, because that team becomes a catalyst for you. So it's not, once we do closing, then it's a high five and we'll hopefully see you in the next 3 years. It's, hey, listen, you've done fantastic on this closing. Now we're going to be your team as you own that home.
Okay. Brian Poduska, let's talk a little bit about your role. And I know that I was at one of the seminars, but let's talk about your role, Brian Poduska. And I'm going to let both of y'all talk a little bit about how y'all partnered up and what Brian Poduska is doing in this whole process.
Yeah, for sure. And part of the reason I'm excited about this endeavor is the fact that Brian touched on it, the fact that it's a team, right? You've got our target audience isn't necessarily that investor who's been doing it for 20, 30 years and they know the ins and outs and the pitfalls and things like that, although we could help them as well. But it's really those folks that have thought about taking advantage of the equity in their home or have thought about jumping into that investment pool, but really don't know exactly how to do it, how to go about it, where the pitfalls may be. And because of that, they haven't even approached anybody about it. So this whole idea is really to get them over that hump, to present to them the team concept of, yes, I'm here. My role specifically, to answer your question, Lendon, is to really help you manage that investment property through, after that sale is made. Okay, now you own a home, or now you own whatever real estate property that you have. Now I have to monetize it, right? Now I have to figure out how I'm not going to lose money on it. How I'm going to either make money or at least be flat in the beginning, before the appreciation side of it kicks in. So my job is I come in and make you feel real comfortable about the tenant that you're going to have in your property, right? So we have screening processes in place, from a criminal background check, from a financial background check. We check all the references, things like that, to make you feel real comfortable about the folks that are going to be living in your home or whatever the property may be. And then really manage all the logistical stuff that goes along with owning a property that has tenants. So maintenance coordination. Anytime something goes wrong, they're not going to call you as the owner. We've got that. So that phone call will come into us and we'll take care of it. On a monthly basis, you need to collect rent. So we have electronic systems in place to make that happen seamlessly. That rent then and the distributions to the owners happen electronically, and it's all seamless, right? So it's that piece of it. And then of course, you go a little bit further. If we have to, unfortunately, evict a tenant, that would fall on us, and we can help the owner through that and take over that process for them. And then again, at the end of the process, we turn it over to a new tenant. So that is kind of the streamline or the timeline of what we handle as part of this team effort. There's all kinds of other things and other aspects of it and other teammates on our board, if you will, that'll handle all the other aspects of the transaction, along with the life cycle of the investment. So to give you an idea, that's the part that we do, and that's the management piece that we specialize in.
Awesome. Let me ask this of Brian Dobbs, a couple of things. One is, how important, if I'm buying a home, is it to understand the multiple ways to save money in home ownership, so that I'm able to build equity faster, to be able to use that equity in some of the things that you're going to be teaching and talking about as far as an educated buyer, educated seller, and having that team around me so that it flattens the curve, especially if I'm a first-time homeowner, right? Mm-hmm. As a first-time homeowner, first I've got to learn the process of buying a home. And there's a lot of home buyer seminars that teach you how to buy it, but there's not many that teach you how to own it. And I think we take that for granted sometimes, that, okay, I bought it. I got approved. I got my tax returns. I got everything to the lender. I got the loan funded. It closed. I got the keys. I'm in. Now what? And I think we think the now what's not that big a deal. But then you get in and you actually own a home, and there's so much to home ownership. Sometimes we don't think about, and there's nothing to be scared about if you've got the right people that are showing you how to do it effectively and efficiently. Is that part of what Redefining Real Estate is doing for the people that you work with?
Absolutely. I can just tell you just my own personal experience. So the first home that I bought, I knew how much money I needed down. I knew how much my payment was going to be. So it felt just like an apartment. And the agent working with me, I'm not going to mention any names, but the agent is actually my relative, okay, and a family member, and they did their job. They got me into the house. It was nice. It was a new construction, so that was a good part of it. What I didn't ask, and this is where I point the fingers back at me, Brian and Lyndon. It's not about shifting blame. It's actually taking ownership. I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't ask the now what questions.
But did you know what questions to ask?
I didn't. So And yeah, is it my fault? Is it just from lack of due diligence, lack of research, for whatever reason? No harm, no foul on that. But I could just tell you, if I knew what I knew today back then, that piece of property would have accelerated because of the appreciation, the equity, the improvements I would have made, the improvements I would have not made. There are certain things that I would have left out of the house. There are certain things I would have put into the house. And would I have been in a lot better position when I sold it? Absolutely, hands down. But that didn't happen. So hence the reason and the birthing, so to speak, or launching of redefining real estate. Because
Right.
I just, from my personal experience, I just want to teach people. I want to help people and say, hey, listen, here's what you're going to have to look at. Here's some questions that you probably need to ask. Even if they don't ask the questions, Lyndon, I really believe that it is part of my responsibility to say, have you thought about this ?
Right.
And let them ask me, because I'm happy to tell them. I'm happy to give them that education. And I know, Brian, you and I have talked, and you feel the same way. I don't know what your personal experience was when you first bought a house, but I want to tell you, mine was, can I afford the payment? Did I make enough money down? And when do I get a close? I mean, that's all I knew.
Yeah, no doubt. Same here. I mean, reason I bought it was to live in it, and as long as I could pay the mortgage, hey, great, right? And that I didn't think about making improvements to the home to really target that, increased investment potential in it. It just never occurred to me, and that's why going through the seminar, it made me think back to first home ownership. Same deal. And the first home I did own was a condo, right? And it was brand new, so I didn't have to do many improvements, but there were other improvements that could have been done to increase the value of it, that I didn't even think of, and I didn't tap into that equity. And I was in a great location, so the appreciation was there, but I took it and rolled it into another home, which again, that's great, and it worked out very well. But what you'll find out in the seminar, in the workshop, is there's other opportunities and other avenues to go. Instead of just rolling it into a new home, you can still roll it into a new home, but does it have to be a maxed out mortgage situation, or can you utilize some of that equity to increase or start an investment portfolio?
Absolutely. And what would have happened, Brian, if they would have talked to us in the very beginning saying, hey, listen, I know you're going to live in this. This is going to be your homestead. And what I would like for you to do is also look at it as an investment, because you're going to have three primary components here. One is the money that you put down is going to start your equity rolling. The payments you're going to make, if you would make an additional payment every year, just make it out 13 payments in a year versus 12 payments, you're going to have a acceleration on principal reduction. So your acceleration, you're going to increase, you're going to tap down on that principal. And then your appreciation rate. If you upkeep the house and you take care of it, then as the market grows, hopefully your house will appreciate. And we are in a market that we are seeing massive appreciation across the board, which is a really nice thing. It doesn't always stay that way. I know the 30-year history is right at about 5%, which is still a great investment and still a great thing. But how cool would it have been if we would have known those things going into our first home purchase?
Yeah, that would have been awesome. And then throw in some of the unforeseen things that you learn about down the road, like the ability to take depreciation across your investment, across the timeline of owning the home, for tax purposes. You reduce your tax burden. Just little things like that as you get into it, you learn more and more, and it unlocks more and more value as you roll one property into another through a 1031 or however you want to do it. There's all kinds of opportunity there.
Yeah.
So
and
you guys have talked. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I wanted to say something on that because I love these conversations because the workshop is not just driven to go for our team to make more sales and do more transactions. Of course, we want to help more people, but our workshop is really driven by an experiential basis. That what we've experienced in the marketplace, what we've experienced in owning a home, we want to bring that to the table and share from our experiences that other people can gain the knowledge and don't have to go through the pitfalls and the hurdles and the speed bumps that we did. And that's the neatest part about our team right now that I am thrilled about. Every day that I wake up, I get to work with fantastic people that have a heart to see change.
Well, and that's a great segue to my question or statement. But one is I was fortunate enough to be at the first one that you guys did, and I've been to hundreds, if not thousands, of homebuyer seminars, and I really and truly, not saying that because you guys are sitting here listening to me, but it was the most informative that I've ever been to. And it was full of people. It was really exciting to be there. But I want to back up just a little bit. I've got a couple of things that I want to talk about. And I want to bring it to you from a uneducated, and I don't mean that in a negative way, buyer or seller. And so we talk about words like appreciation, equity, and investment. And we all hear that. We all know that. We all know that over time, hopefully our house is going to build equity. It's going to appreciate. And when we pay it off, it's going to be, worth hopefully more than what we paid for it. And so that we just understand, because that's what society has told us, that's a good thing. But what I love about redefining real estate, educated buyer, educated seller, is that it is explaining why that's important. Not that it is important, but why that's important and what we can do for it. And if we never invested or we never took the opportunity to do some of the things that you guys are telling, it's not life-changing. And that's what does, let's talk about in redefining real estate and the seminars that you're doing, what's that going to do to change my life if I follow the program that you guys are setting out and allow you to be my resource and mentors? Brian Dobbs, let's go with you first.
Okay. Well, I'm going to break this down into three. One, when you're going to understand the highest and best use of your property, you're going to understand when you purchase property or sell a property, what are the things that you need to add to it? What are the things that you might need to overlook, if, matter of preference, and not necessarily overlook, but you might not need to import the golden countertops from Italy. You just might not need to do that, just because they might not have the same dollar to dollar resale value as when you purchase it. So you become more educated or smarter in your purchasing. The other is the economic driver. So if you ask, how's this going to change your life, Lyndon? I actually have a real estate agent that I was coaching for a couple of years that I taught this program to. They went out, they purchased a home 2 houses or 2 streets away, lived in the same school district, the same neighborhood, close to work. Everything was the same except for the house, and they paid off their debt. So, you have multiple strategies that you might want to reduce your debt. You might want to create income or generate wealth. You might want to have a home for each one of your children. And we have a client that's on my team, and they're working with an individual that wants to buy 3 homes for their 3 children. And that's cool to me. And being able to take this program, we can teach them how to do it in a smart way.
So you mentioned a word, and it's funny, whenever I write this happens to us a lot, Brian. I'll write a word down, and then 2 seconds later, you actually say the word that I just wrote down. But you mentioned strategy, and I had just written down strategic ownership. Okay. And in order to have a strategy, there's got to be a plan. And I think a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this, buying a home, the only plan that I had was, as Brian said, can I pay the mortgage? Can I pay the insurance? Can I, that was my, and I don't know that that's a strategy. That's just, it's kind of like living in an apartment, right? Except you have to mow your own yard. So strategic ownership, there's a lot of things that come into play with that. I know that Aaron, who isn't here today, but I know that Brian Poduska, you're going to have him on at some point. He mentioned that night about how if you had kids going to college, how if you bought a home, if you did it correctly, that your home could pay for their college in 18 years and somebody else could make the payment on that mortgage over that 18 years. And so they're basically funding your kid's college program.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that got my attention because I never thought of it that way. I always thought about buying a home and paying it down faster. Obviously, you build equity quicker. But I never really thought of how to use that equity in creating more wealth for me and my family. So talk a little bit about that. I don't want to put you on the spot and let you do all of what Aaron was talking about, but I want both of you to talk a little bit about that, about how you're going to help people understand how to use the equity to benefit their family.
Yeah, I'll run with that. And we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but the cool thing about the seminar and what it does for you and what it can do for you and your family is it simplistically boils it down in what, Brian, about 20 minutes. Aaron's section is about 20 minutes. Yours is about 20 minutes. So in 20 minutes, through just some very simple, common sense graphs with numbers, and it's not even graphs, it's more flow charting type stuff. Comparisons to stock market versus real estate, right? And it shows some real concrete examples of how do you pay off your kids' college tuition? How do you fund yourself for retirement income? If you go to some of these seminars, you hear, what's your number? And people are like, well, what does that mean? What's my number? I don't know what that is. Well, your number is, what's your number to feel comfortable to pay off your recurring bills? So whether it's electricity, water, you name it, you add up all the bills that you have recurring. If you call that your number and you've got rental income or income from rental properties that can cover your number, that gives you freedom. So, you pick your goal, whether it's college tuition or freedom or, if you want asset diversification, whatever the goal may be. There's, very concrete examples in this seminar that really quickly boil it down for you. It's kind of eye popping, right? You hear about it, but then you see it very simplistically, and then let's figure out how to do this.
Yep. Well, one of the things that I thought, and I want to ask, I got a couple of questions for both of you. But one of the things that I thought was really cool about what Aaron said is, and I'm not going to do it like he did, but this was my eye opener. Brian Poduska and Brian Dobbs got 3 questions for you. I want to buy $200,000 worth of stock. Would you guys pay for that for me?
Would I pay for it for you?
Not.
Yeah, I need $200,000 worth of stock. Would you buy that for me?
Lennon, I love you and all, but no, I'm not quite there yet.
Okay, so what about putting $200,000 in savings? Would you? I mean, that's just $100,000 a piece. Would y'all split that and put that in there for me?
Not there yet either.
All right, or an IRA. So I don't want to be silly with this, but that's kind of what Aaron was talking about. Because if I have a home that you're leasing from me, you are paying for my retirement.
Yep.
But we're both getting something out of it, right? So it's a win-win situation. I didn't hold a gun to you and make you go into that house. You decided you wanted to. But to me, that's when it hit me. I'm like, here I am busting my tail to fund all of these things myself, when if I would have been smarter with real estate, other people would have been funding my retirement, my goals, my dreams, whatever it may be. Is that really, Brian? Is that how you're redefining real estate?
Yes. We're teaching people and I use this phrase a lot, especially in our seminars, it's not what you have that makes a difference. It's what you do with what you have that makes a difference. So
Right.
you could be sitting on $180,000 of equity in your house. That's great. But it only works when you actually sell the house and you're able to utilize that equity becomes not paper money anymore, but it actually becomes tangible to you. So you could go sell your house if you had $180,000 of equity, and let's say you work with Aaron and you put creative financing in the first one, so you buy your primary residence, and then you take the additional amount of equity, you know, pay off your debt, or you might want to buy a rental property and get with Brian Poduska as far as property management is concerned and the rest of the team to help you protect that asset. And now you have a primary resident, and then you have a tenant in your rental property that is actually helping you pay for or fund your dreams or your kids' college. I mean, there are so many different options here. And once they're all laid out, and they're laid out, you're right, Poduska, in this, that it's very simple. It's just simple flow charts, and allows you to put your own two eyes on it. You assess your own situation, and then you figure out a game plan. Wow, I want to be over there. So how do I get there? Did that answer your question, Lyndon?
It did. It absolutely did. And you used another word, and so did Brian. Simplified. That's what I got out of the seminar when I was there, because there are a lot of investment opportunities and things that I hear, and I'm like, okay, so do I have time to go through the learning curve, and what are my losses going to be by the time I figure this out? And when I realize what y'all are putting together, the mentorship program that flattens that learning curve so that it minimizes, if there is any losses, it's going to minimize those losses. It's going to help me own a home and be more efficient in my investment there. That's what I loved about it. And it is a simplification. And I think that if you're a first-time home buyer and you go to this, you're not only going to learn who, as far as Brian Dobbs' team, that you can put together to help you with that and feel safe and secure in buying that first home, but you're going to have a strategic process after you get the keys, you walk through the door, and everybody walks away, because everybody doesn't really walk away.
Yeah.
So Poduska, what do you got on? You got. I know you got some things churning in your head.
Yeah, no, I do. I think that you kind of nailed it with simplicity. I would also, because I am kind of a finance guy. That's what my major is, and underlying knowledge on just overall finances, but risk reduction, right? So another key thing that this whole seminar and idea does is it reduces the risk and potential liability that you put yourself in. Once you realize that, yes, I do want to get into this, the learning curve is one thing. Avoiding the pitfalls and reducing your risk is the other key benefit, right? You've got people who know what they're doing in their lane, so to speak. So you've got teammates that can jump in and help you out. You've got folks that you can put on speed dial that if you need something, whether it's property management or home warranties or home inspections as you're going through the buying process. All that stuff is quickly accessible. So that's the key that I think, after you get in the idea in your head that, yeah, I can do this and we're going to go forward with it, we can help reduce your risk. Not only can we do it quicker, but we can help reduce that risk that, may be keeping you on the ledge or not wanting to jump into the pool.
Right.
And I think it's a lot better just to work with a team anyway. I get a lot of things accomplished. I'm happier. I feel more secure when I have multiple people's eyes on something that I'm working with. I mean, we do this in my team alone for real estate. if I put something out as far as a PowerPoint presentation or advertisement, I'm like, hey, listen, I need you to review this for me. Just look at this real quick. Put your eyes on it. Any thoughts and opinions or ideas? So when people come to this seminar, we've watched this. They're able to access one-on-one the home inspector, one-on-one with Brian Poduska with property management, one-on-one with the real estate agents in there, and I'm a real estate agent, and my team we're realtors as well. Then you have title people, then you have home warranty. We have a large group, and we're continuing to grow and add to this. That somebody could come in and find, different opinions and different insights on this one property, and absolutely it mitigates risk, and it also gives you a confidence that this team is going to walk with you through that journey. There are a lot of unforeseens, right? And owning a property, Brian, and you can be the first one to attest to that. But as you walk with a team, and I'm like, well, Brian, I've never seen this before. Have you ever seen it? And if you have, you can tell me from your experience. And then if you haven't, you're just like, I haven't seen this either. We need to call Lyndon, or we need to call somebody else. Somebody in our group has seen it. Promise.
So let me ask a question, because there was a show we had not long ago, and I can't remember who it was on there, but they were talking about that there can be up to 75 people involved in a real estate transaction. 75 professionals, not counting buyer seller. Okay, that's a lot of people, right? And I was in mortgage at one point, so I know how many people, once I take an application, how many people's hands actually touch that whole process before it gets to closing. So when you think about this, 75 people, would you rather have 75 strangers that's never worked together trying to put together this file and get it from application to close, or would you rather have a sort of a concierge type group of people that have worked together, that know each other, that understand each other, that know how to work through the challenges and difficulties? And trust me, there are challenges and difficulties to buying any home. Doesn't it just make sense to go with the group of people that are familiar with each other, have a loyalty and a respect for each other, and have a duty and obligation to each other to do the best they can do every time that they get that opportunity?
It makes sense to me, but that is, for me personally, I like that team approach. I do. I've lived long enough in this world to know that I just don't have all the answers, but I know that I can pick up the phone at any given time in any place, and I have a team of people that I can call and get that answer.
Yeah, and I think the other key benefit that you touched on real briefly, Brian, but one of the benefits of if you like what you saw in the seminar, a lot of programs will say, okay, great, here's your next step, and it's going to cost you $500 to come spend a weekend with us or whatever. We're not doing this to sell anything as far as the program goes, right? This truly is a team, and the follow-up that we offer is, Brian touched on it, is a one-on-one consultation with the team. So
right,
free of charge. You don't have to pay anything. We just need to coordinate it from a timing standpoint, where you can throw whatever questions you have at us, and get to know us better, and go through that vetting process free of charge. So it's a really unique opportunity, which is we sat through it and ran through the first one. I came out of there energized and fired up, because it's just a unique and it's a fun, exciting way to do something that's already out there and has been done a bunch of different ways. But this is unique.
It is unique.
And it is fun.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian Dobbs.
It is fun. So, Brian, to answer that or to comment on that, on what you said, we don't charge a monthly fee. We don't charge a subscription. You know what? We're real human beings. And guess what? Here's our team. If you came in and you took notes and you did screenshots of our presentation and you walk away, then we did our job. We taught, we educated, and hopefully it helps you. But if you come in and you take notes and you screenshot and you're like, wow, you know what? I think this is a real possibility for me. Then we offer that strategy session, like Brian was saying, not a one-on-one consultation, but you get a consultative approach with the whole team, and that's fantastic to me. I've been in the real estate industry for 25 years. The last 12 years of it, I've spent coaching real estate agents, and honestly, I haven't seen a team consultation where you can do a strategy session with the team. I just haven't seen it. And maybe it's out there because, again, I haven't talked to everybody, but we have this approach. We love it. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy helping people.
Well, and that's just to talk about both Brian's here and more people that you have on your team. You do take the relational approach and not the transactional approach to what you're doing. And that's one reason why I think that you're all coming together and forming this relationship in your team, because you all have the same core values of serving and helping people. And we all do that. We all want to do that. But I think that you guys are you're challenging each other to take it to the next level, taking the service and the education to the next level. And you're bringing the relational aspect to what you're doing so that people can come in and Brian Dobbs, as you said, if they screenshot everything and they walk out with an education and they go do this and they knock it out of the park, you guys are still going to feel just as happy as if someone comes and goes, hey, I need your help. Because it is what you're trying to do. And that's where I feel like y'all are making the difference. And that's why we love you guys, and we love people that have that mentality, have that mindset that we're going to bring our careers and our businesses back to the service approach, to the true service approach. So we've got another seminar coming up soon, right? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Brian, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
I'll hit it. I've got it up here on my screen for sure. So mark your calendars. It's next one's going to be on Tuesday, September 22nd, from 6:30 to 9 at a place called the Froth Coffee Bar, and that is in Hazlet, Texas. So that's at 1090 Schoolhouse Road, Suite 600 in Hazlet, Texas. So again, September 22nd, it's a Tuesday night, 6:30 to 9 at Froth Coffee Bar in Hazlet.
So let's share a little bit about that. Let's talk about what you guys are going to be doing. I want everybody to hear a little bit, just give them a teaser of what they can expect if they show up.
For sure. Brian, I'll give that one to you.
Okay. So perfect. We're going to have the buy sell. So we'll teach on the real estate side. We're going to teach on highest to best use, economic drivers, and social impact, which are game changers because it actually shows you or showcases the power of real estate. And then we're going to switch over to the second part of the presentation is with Aaron. Fantastic. He teaches on the financial strategies. You definitely don't want to miss that. You will take copious notes, and I want to tell you, it's fun. It gets you energized, and it makes you think, where am I? How much equity do I have? What are my goals? What are my dreams? How am I utilizing what I currently have to get me on the right trajectory to accomplish my dreams in life? So those are good things. The third part about this presentation and the seminar is we invite a portion of our team and we do an expert panel. So we have a moderated expert panel and moderated questions for the first few minutes of it, and we get to talk about the seminar, the workshop, and how utilizing real estate from insurance perspective or home warranty perspective or inspector, etc. We look at all of those angles, so you get to meet these team teammates of ours. Plus, then we open it up for Q&A in the audience, and that went great as well for us. So you basically have three different parts. You have the buy-sell side, so buying and selling real estate, and then you have the financial strategies of it, and then you get to meet this fantastic team of professionals with just gobs of experience. So it overall is fantastic.
And if you really want, you just come and heckle us too.
You can.
I didn't know that was an option. I'll be ready this time. So, in wrapping up, I know we're about 45 minutes into the show, but in wrapping up, Brian Poduska, I want you just to, I want both of you to share how people can get in touch with you. I've been running the scroll on Brian Poduska at the bottom. I'll continue to do that. But Brian Dobbs, I want you to share how people can get in touch with you, and then we'll get ready to close out unless y'all have something else.
Well, one of the things, Lyndon and Brian, I want to talk about, if you cannot make it to Tuesday, September 22nd in Hazlet at the Froth Coffee Bar, would you please email us? Email us, comment on Facebook that you would like to be a part of the next seminar, because it's our goal to push out, I'm not even going to tell you the number, but push out quite a bit of these seminars and workshops. I'm just not going to go there right now. I have a lot, and I have a very big goal because we want to reach a lot of people that, before the end of 2020. We're going to have a lot of workshops, guys, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Our team is growing. We're excited. So if you're listening to this and you would like to sign up for a workshop or know about upcoming workshops, please get a hold of us. Get a hold of Brian Poduska and Lyndon on the difference, or email us and let us know. We will put you on that waiting list, and we will have a workshop that I know that you can come to, because we'll have quite a few of them. So we're excited about that. A little bit about how you can contact me. You can reach me via email at brian@briancdobbs.com. You can give me a call. You can message me on Facebook. Guys, I want to always make sure that I'm easily accessible and available to help people and help as many people as we possibly can. And I think that carries through our whole team and what we stand for in impacting families and building stronger neighborhoods and better communities. So, guys, I really appreciate you, Lyndon, and you, Brian, for inviting me on this program today. Love to hear from the listeners, so contact me and we'll chat.
And Brian Dobbs, once the show is over, if you would go into our comments and put your contact information in there. I've just shared Brian Poduska in comments as well. So Brian, I got you there, man. Awesome. And but Brian, I'm going to let you close us out, and we'll get ready. And you do your show once a week, right? Thursdays at 1.
Yes, sir. Thursdays at 1. Come join us next week for the full thing if you just jumped in the middle. But no, I want to thank you, Lyndon, for, as always, doing a great job moderating and setting up. Brian, awesome job today. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing more about the seminar that we're both excited about and the entire team is excited about. Look forward to seeing folks out there on Tuesday, September 22nd, if you can make it. And that's it. Awesome show. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
See you next week.